So good day everyone. So this is how to write chapter 2 in the research proposal. So in the chapter 2 in a research paper usually called the literature review or review of related literature should have a clear and logical structure with three essential parts. And first is introduction, second is body, and the third is a conclusion. Here's an explanation of each part. So, um, introduction. So, introduction sets the stage for the literature review. It should define the topic and explain the scope of the review, what will and will not be covered of the research. So, it can provide context for why the topic is important within the research field. So it can also summarize the organization and structures of the chapter, giving readers a roadmap of what to expect into the research. So and also optionally represent or present the perspective or instance in the current state of research to connect it to the studies aim. So in the introduction, it begins with a short paragraph introducing what the chapters is about, and also explain that um, explain well, discuss related literatures and studies that provide context and support for the research on. In the review of related literatures, there are local and also foreign. So it can divide studies into foreign, outside the country, and also within the local, and summarize the previous research findings relevant to the topic of the research, and also highlight their methodologies, the result, and their conclusion. So it can emphasize how this study support uh, to the research or reveal gap of the study. So next is the body. The body of the chapter 2 is the main part of literatures where can organize the literatures by themes, trends, methodologies, or chronologically depending on what best suit to the research. So in the body also it can summarize and synthesis key studies showing how they relate to the research topic of the research. So critically evaluate the literature by discussing what is their strength, their weaknesses, and gaps or conflict findings of the research. And also, in that body, it can present the relationship between the broader field and the specific research focus through well structured paragraph and clear transitions. That is the important also the um, in the body of the chapter 2. And also it can emphasize the significance of the reviewed studies rather than just summarizing them. So next is conclusion. It can summarize the key insight gained from the literature. So in the chapter 2 we can, in the conclusion also, it can evaluates the current state of knowledge and identifies what is the significance, gaps, or the limitation of the study. So it can highlight areas where further research is needed. So the links the literature reviewed directly to the research questions or the hypothesis of the research, to justifying the need for the study. So these structures also can helps create coherent critical and focused review supports what can what can support to the research by situating it within the existing knowledge and identifying what the study will contribute. So there are tips to do well writing the chapter 2 of the research. So first is use credible resources or sources like books, peer-reviewed journals, dissertation, or credible websites. And the second is write in your own words and always cite sources properly. So that is the important also to do well um to do well to writing write um the chapter 2, and also focus only the um literature that directly connects to the research problem of the research. So that's it. Thank you for the listening. Thank you for listening and have a great day.